Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 13th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Currently sweating it out on a Saturday afternoon. Been good. Been solid. I feel like I got a decent amount of rest, despite waking up in the middle of the night, kind of having a little bit of in-between time. But, overall, we're good. Let's see here. Last night, what was a food corner? I had Domino's, had a little pizza day. Felt good to, be back at Domino's eating the same thing. But it was a little bit of a twist, I guess, for me. They made it so that now you can order the New York style pizza as a medium. Initially, you could only get that as a large option, and I'm like, I'm not paying y'all $20. Come on, y'all know what this is. Get out of here with that. So now you can get them as medium. So I was stoked for that. So I got one medium that was barbecue base, like with a sauce, and then I had jalapenos and banana peppers, and then the other one was Philly steak and pineapple with the marinara sauce. So yeah, both were good. I enjoyed both. I will say maybe hand toss is still better between the three. I'm sorry, if you're a pan crust enjoyer from Domino's, get out of here. That's the worst one. It's just butter. It's butter and it makes it all taste funny. That being said, I do love a good pan crust from the right restaurant. You know what I mean? I think back in the day, I'm getting nostalgic here, but like Pizza Hut pan crust was so good. Now it's garbage. It's bad. But back in the day, that shit used to be solid. Now you got to go to like some cool restaurant or something like Dewey's or I don't know, some nice pizza restaurant. I'm sure it can totally do a good pan crust for you. But none of the fast pizza chains can do it well. Unfortunately, it's sad. Anyway, let's go ahead and move along. Let's do our startup and get into some news. Also, I'm gonna say, hey, I didn't think I was gonna address it, but I was like, fuck it. Appreciate all the good comments, even the trashy ones that I delete. Keep those coming. Once again, I always hope that they're positive, but hey, if you got to get it off your chest that you just don't dig it, hey, I'm happy to see that you at least tried for like a minute. That's at least a solid click. That's a view. Thank you. You have a good one. Anyway, let's go ahead and do a startup, and we'll go ahead and get into it. All right. Our first story comes from the BBC. Excuse me. Children killed in Nigeria school collapse. 22 children have died and at least 132 have been injured after a school building collapsed in Nigeria's central Plateau State, local officials say. Saint Academy in the state capital, Jos, or I'm going to say Jos, caved in while students were in class on Friday morning. Children were left trapped under the debris. Volunteers used excavators, hammers, and their bare hands to break through the piles of concrete and twisted iron rods to reach many of those trapped. Police told reporters that at least 22 children had died in the collapse, with many receiving treatment in local hospitals. The school is believed to have more than 1,000 pupils. Local resident Abel Fanundai told the BBC that his friend's son had been killed and said the scale of the tragedy is frightening. The state government said an investigation is underway and cited the school's weak structure and unsafe location near a riverbank, advising other schools with structural concerns to close immediately. It advised hospitals in Jos to prioritize treating the injured regardless of documentation or payment. So that's good. But yeah, obviously, very unfortunate scene in Nigeria. I guess with just like heavy amount of rains on a plateau mixed with the structure, it just led to a disaster. I know they have a They talked to one of the students who survived, and they were like, yeah, we were just, doing our exams, and in the middle of exams, we hear a sound, and the next thing you know, I'm here. So apparently happened really suddenly, very, violently. Hopefully, there are more people that, are going to be like okay, and hopefully the injuries aren't too bad, overall of the people who are injured. But yeah, just, wanted to go ahead and start off the top with, I would say this is obviously the worst news that we're going to cover today. Yeah, let's go ahead and get on to the next thing. Overall, though, I will say, I'll add spoilers. The news isn't super duper great, unless for this one, if you're an Alec Baldwin fan, then this is your dub. This is your good news. You're about to get a treat, unexpectedly. ABC News. Judge dismisses Alec Baldwin's arrest case after defense claims evidence was withheld. So yeah, this dropped like 10 minutes after I wrapped up last night, and I was like, what the fuck? Oh, okay, all right, I guess I know what I'm talking about tomorrow. In a stunning turn of events, a New Mexico judge dismissed Alec Baldwin's arrest case Friday on day 3 of his manslaughter trial. The judge granted the defense's motion to dismiss the case, in which they claimed live ammunition that came into the hands of local law enforcement related to the investigation into the deadly onset shooting was concealed from them. Judge Mary Marlowe Summer said the state's discovery violation regarding the late disclosure of a supplemental report on the ammunition evidence injected needless delay into proceedings, approached bad faith, and was highly prejudicial to the defendant. There's no way for the court to right this wrong, Summer said, and granting the motion to dismiss with prejudice, meaning Baldwin cannot be tried again on the charge. Baldwin reacted emotionally as the judge explained her ruling and could be seen hugging his wife, Hilaria Baldwin. He faced 18 years in prison if convicted. Now, this is like a whole, rigmarole of bullshit that I guess takes place. But let's see. The decision followed a day-long motion hearing Friday amid the actor's involuntary manslaughter trial over the death of resident photographer Halyna Hutchins, who was fatally shot by Baldwin on the Santa Fe set of the Western in October of 2021 when his revolver fired a live round. Let's see here. The court discussed the defense's motion in absence of the jury. In an unexpected move, the special prosecutor on the case, Carrie Morrissey, also called herself to testify on the matter. Also, I love a little bit of a highlight there. When this situation pops up, the initial prosecutor, because Carrie Morrissey is not on at this point, she's not the lead prosecutor. She's or the head prosecutor's like, yeah, no, I don't want to put her up. And she's like, no, I insist. I'm going to go up and I'm going to testify, which is crazy. This was it definitely reaches Law and Order levels. And I realized as I was reading this, I'm like, look, I'm only going to be able to give you guys a quick summary. So I would definitely say to at least read this article from ABC News or hit the YouTube and check this shit out. Cause you don't see this kind of shit happen every day. Usually a trial goes through its whole motions, its whole rigmarole. Defense had tried to get dismissals. That's a very common thing to say, oh, well, this is fucked up. This is wrong. You should throw this whole thing out, Your Honor. But this actually stuck. And essentially the judge is like, yeah, no, this is heavy enough that it poisons the whole case. We got to throw this whole thing out with prejudice. You can't try him again. Let's read a little bit further. In an expedited motion filed late Thursday, the defense argued the case should be dismissed over the handling of the ammunition evidence. During court on Friday, the state argued the evidence has no exculpatory value and is not relevant to Baldwin's case, which I gotta add, I kind of agree with. At the end of the day, this is about some ammunition that was given, and essentially it wasn't tied to the set, so it was inevitably filed in another case file. But that winds up obfuscating the evidence for the defense, and they don't have any actual access to it. They don't know it exists. But let's continue. The matter was initially raised during court on Thursday. Defense attorney Alex Spiro asked state witness Marissa Popple, a crime scene technician with the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office who collected evidence in the case, about a Good Samaritan who handed over ammunition to the sheriff's office in March during Russ Armour's Hannah Gutierrez's trial that had reportedly ended up with Seth Kinney, who supplied the film with firearms, blanks, and dummy rounds. Gutierrez was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in Hutchinson's death, with prosecutors arguing the armorer was the source of the live bullet that killed her and saying she failed to follow safety protocols meant to protect the crew while handling the firearms. Popple testified that her lieutenant instructed her to create a report documenting the individual came and gave them the ammunition, and she filed it under a case number different from the rest case. So essentially they were able to pry this open and saying, hey, you guys hid this information from us. And they're like, no, that wasn't the case. Like, we just didn't think that it was relevant. And then it's added that it's like, well, the prosecution knew about this and they also didn't tell us. And it's like, we didn't mention it because it wasn't relevant. Like, we looked at this evidence, we saw the bullets, and we just like realized that this couldn't be the same ammunition. And they're like, but you didn't try any of this evidence. Like, you didn't try or do any kind of like test firing of anything. You just looked at the pictures and made that assumption, right? And they're like, yeah. And essentially, with the judge agreeing, that doesn't add up. You don't get the ability to do that. You should have ran this through the right and proper channels. You know, the defense should have had a chance to know about this evidence, and they weren't alerted to it. So, I'm long story shorting here. Essentially, the case is thrown out. So it's looking like he's beating this shit. And that's a big surprise. I expected to, I'm not going to lie. I expected him to beat this case, but I didn't expect it to get thrown out like this. So this was pretty shocking. Gutierrez's defense has said that they're going to try to file like a motion to appeal or something like that to get like this thrown out, like kind of by the same way. But I really do feel like this kind of goes to show the power of a really, really, really good legal team, because they were on this shit at all times, ready to catch any and all slip-ups, and that's exactly what happened here, and they were able to literally pry this whole case open and get it thrown out. So, I mean, kudos for that. I don't know. Do I feel like justice was served? Yes and no, but I would say just in the sense of with Gutierrez getting, the 18 months, her sentence, I do feel like there's a level of culpability here when it comes to Baldwin. I've said this before, and it's him as a producer. But the judge already threw that shit out. We've talked about that previously. So in terms of like on the rails of the case at hand, I don't feel like he's actually culpable. You can say, well, he shouldn't have aimed the gun at Holnia. Okay, but overall it seems to be agreed that he had a prop gun with a cold gun, with a cold round in it. You know what I mean? It was supposed to be a dummy round. So he's doing the thing that an actor is supposed to do. If at least according to him, he says, hey, she says, aim it at the camera, aim it at me and do this do this test shot. And that's what he was doing. And I mean, at least according to him, he never even got to the stand. I don't know if he would have, actually got on the stand and said this, but he said, hey, I didn't pull the trigger. So that's really all we have to go on. I feel like that's where we're going to leave it. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be some new waves with, the Gutierrez part of this. But once again, I'm definitely grazing over some details here. If I read through this whole thing, which I feel like I should do, it would take way too long of an episode, and we've already kind of flubbed it up. The heat's already fucking with me. So yeah, let me go ahead and move on to the next beat. From CNN. Hotel operator fires hotel associates involved in the death of a black man pinned to the ground. Hotel employees have been fired following the death last month of a black man after he was pinned down by hotel security guards outside a Hyatt Regency in Milwaukee, in an incident partially captured by witness video. The conduct we saw from several associates on June 30th violated our policies and procedures and does not reflect our values as an organization or behaviors we expect from our associates. Ambridge Hospitality, which operates the downtown hotel, said Thursday in a statement about the death of Devontae Mitchell. Let's see. Following a review of their actions, their employment has been terminated, the statement added. We will continue our independent investigation and do everything we can to support law enforcement with their investigation into this tragic accident. It's unclear how many hotel associates were fired and if they include the security guards involved in the Mitchell incident. Those security guards initially were suspended as Ambridge Hospitality completed its investigation, a Hyatt spokesperson told CNN on Monday. Police have referred 4 charges of felony murder in Mitchell's death, a police spokesperson told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Police have been consulted in consultation with the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office since July 5th and have subsequently referred the charges, but the DA's office has yet to make the decision. Sergeant Efrain Cornejo told the Journal-Sentinel. CNN has reached out to the Milwaukee Police Department and the DA's office for additional information. Okay, to the incident. Mitchell, 43, was at the Hyatt Regency on June 30th when police allege he caused a disturbance, prompting security guards to escort him out of the hotel, according to a statement from civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who represents the Mitchell family. Security guards and others had then pinned Mitchell to the ground, part of a video posted on social media shows. Mitchell grunts and pleads with the guards, repeatedly saying, "Please," and "I'm sorry," it shows. One guard, who appears to be white, can be heard saying, "Stay down," and "Stop fighting," as the others, who appear to be people of color, hold Mitchell down. The video shows the same guard calls out to witnesses, "This is what happens when you go into the ladies' room." So I can see how it's like, okay, we don't know exactly what happened outside of these statements, but we do know that from whatever we saw in this video, that Mitchell is dead. He's killed. When police arrived, Mitchell was unresponsive and pronounced dead despite life-saving measures. Milwaukee police told CNN on Tuesday without mentioning Mitchell by name. It is unclear what led up to Mitchell's encounter with security guards, how long it took officers to arrive on the scene, and what Mitchell was doing at the hotel. So there's definitely a lot of questions, but we do know that these security guards held him down until he was no longer alive. There was a reference in this to George Floyd, and it definitely makes sense. Only the difference is here, it's not even cops doing it. These are just security officers, Obviously, this is something that's very fucked up. It's very sad. We don't know exactly what led to them taking this action to force him out of the hotel, but that does not give you the power to take his life. It doesn't make you judge, jury, and executioner. So definitely this was something that when I saw it, I was like, okay, I want to talk about it, at least, get a toehold in and see what happens from here. Let's see here. Was really anything else I wanted to pull? No. Of course, the Hyatt, this was something I did like. Hyatt has joined Mitchell's family in their calls for transparency, accountability, and justice for this senseless tragedy. The hotel chain said on Wednesday, adding criminal charges should be filed against the Ambridge Hospitality employees involved. I love that. I'm like, aren't they like a subsidiary or like under you as a company? It's like, oh yeah, you guys should totally get them. This is so fucked up. Like, this doesn't make you an ally, Hyatt, but like, okay, thank you. But yeah, I do hope that we can get some clarity in this and figure out, who is exactly involved. I think that was another thing I wanted to mention. There hasn't been any criminal trials filed, why did I say trials? There hasn't been any arrests made or anything like that, at least as of yet. I know that I think this incident took place June 30th. So, we'll see. Yeah, there hasn't been any indictments. I think that was the word I was looking for. Sorry. I am literally boiling alive. Okay, that's it on this part. I wanted to cover one more thing before I let you go. So let me wipe myself down, and then I'm going to take my last break, and we will go ahead and close this out. Whew, I'm going to turn on a fan. It's always nice to do that. Got to hydrate a little bit this time. Ooh. Oh, I will say I tried going out again last night, and it was hotter last night, so it wasn't as like refreshing to go outside. I was very sad about that. I was like, man, oh man. All right. And we're back. From the Associated Press. Milk, eggs, and now bullets for sale in handful of U.S. grocery stores with ammo vending machines. A company has installed computerized vending machines to sell ammunition in grocery stores in Alabama, Oklahoma, and Texas, allowing patrons to pick up bullets along with a gallon of milk. American Rounds said their machines use an identification scanner and facial recognition software to verify the purchaser's age and are as quick and easy to use as a computer tablet. But advocates worry that selling bullets out of vending machines will lead to more shootings in the U.S., where gun violence killed at least 33 people on Independence Day alone. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. The company maintains the age verification technology means the transactions are as secure or more secure than online sales, which may not require the purchaser to submit proof of age, or at retail stores where there is a risk of shoplifting. I'm very thankful for those who are taking the time to get to know us and are not just making assumptions about what we're about. CEO Grant Majors said, "We are very pro Second Amendment," makes sense, but we are for responsible gun ownership, and we hope that we're improving the environment for the community. Now, this is one of those things where when I really think about it, I should not be surprised, but it just like creates this like video game Fortnite type of like environment where you literally can just like hop out, reload on ammunition, and then just get back to doing whatever you're doing. And that's a little surreal to me. That's a bit uncanny to me. And it's like, Isaiah, you're being a bit, out of bounds here, but it's like, you can now do that if you have the proper requirements. You just have a license or whatever. Like, there's no human being now that is going to say, hey, no, I can't sell you this, bro. You couldn't, no. But at the same time, you can add, because of Second Amendment rights, like, can you really stop a person if they just seem normal enough more times than not? Like, you can't. Like, you do have to just stick to the protocol and allow this person to have a gun. And there is a counter that they do make in this article where it's like, hey, there's been situations where like a human being messed up the age verification kind of thing, or, they make a mistake when it comes to like verifying a person, at least with this, the hope is, and of course, AI is involved. There's facial recognition, there's your license that you use for verification. So there shouldn't be any kind of flubs here. You should just be able to be like who you are. They run your shit and then you're good to go. I don't know. To me, I don't like it, but it does seem like an inevitable thing. Like, of course, once you just get machine learning involved in this process, once it's cheap enough for a company to kind of use and say, hey, we can incorporate it into our shit, like, they're going to use it. Like, it just makes sense. Also, this is a little fun fact that I didn't know. A Pennsylvania police officer created a company about 12 years ago that places bullet vending machines in private gun clubs and ranges as a convenience for patrons. Those machines do not have the age verification mechanism, but are only placed in locations with an age requirement to enter. Master Ammo owner Sam Piccini, whatever, said. So essentially, these things are already a thing, to an extent. And one could argue you get in, now you just have carte blanche to get as many bullets as you want out of here. You're good. I mean, there is a barrier of entry that, once again, is human kept. I like that a little bit more than, once again, an AI, fucking situation. But here we are. So I figured, hey, that'd be a fun way to close it out. So now you know. Where are they at? Did I say where they were? I know they're in Oklahoma. They got one in Texas. I think they're going to open up another one in Texas, and they're planning on opening one in Colorado. So there you go. That's fun. We love that. Coming to a neighborhood near you. You know what? It's kind of perfect, right? We're gonna lose the red boxes, and you can just kind of replace them with this American ammo. Hell yeah, dude! Stock up now. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess should I really be that freaked out about it? You can already buy like fucking firearms and ammunition from Walmart, right? So it just is what it is. We live in a society. But yeah, that's it. That's where I'll call it. We'll say that before I literally just melt into a little puddle. But if you'd like to help out, support the effort, become a newsie today, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Feel free to send feedback the free way, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials you're on. And hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. I do appreciate any of the subscriptions. We do have more subscribers. Yay! We're at like 76. Woo! Whether you love or you hate the content, I appreciate you for sounding off about it. Once again, I really can't stress that enough. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.